Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today for you guys, I got this PC we'll be cleaning in this episode of cleaning gaming PCs. So today is episode 3. So let's get right into it. So this build, we'll be cleaning it in detail, stripping everything down to its bare bones, getting everywhere, every nooks and crannies. And we move on forward, which this computer would be featured in building budget gaming PCs for a profit. You'll see that really soon. Stay tuned. Now that we completed the intro, I scored this PC for a really good price, which will be revealed in building budget gaming PC for profit. So now that I gave you an overview of this computer, we're going to move straight into stripping down this PC to its bare bones. We're going to start by removing everything from the case, and then we move on to the next step. Now that the screws are off the graphics card, we're going to be releasing it and removing it from the case. This is a beefy graphics card, which we'll be getting into all the details of these parts throughout the video. Now that we completed removing the graphics card, we're moving on to separating the AIO from the motherboard. Now that the AIO is removed, I did forget to show you the full before of the computer, which will be a video clip displayed on screen of briefly showing the case. And now I'm going to show you the in detail. Since we remove the graphics card, you can see how filthy this PC is. And yeah, we will be making this PC looking brand new, as it should be. So let's remove the motherboard from the case. Since the motherboard is pretty hard to get out, so we're going to be trying to remove the top panel so we can remove the AIO from the case. So we are changing plans again. The AIO is covered by the motherboard, RAM sticks and the cables surrounding the motherboard. So what we're going to do, we're going to strip down the motherboard inside the case so we can potentially move on to the next step. Starting with the RAM sticks. Holy crap. We really did take it out. So we started stripping down the motherboard and we did run into a funny issue, which thank God is not really that big of an issue. So the USB 3.0 from this cable. So the plastic part came off with the 3.0 cable. I thought it was welded onto the motherboard itself, but thank God it's just a plastic piece that goes over the pins just to lock it in place, which is a really good relief. And yeah, so we're just going to keep continuing on stripping this down. Now that we've stripped the motherboard to bare bones, well, close enough, we can try unscrewing the motherboard and removing it from the case. So it looks like we have to open the back panel, which I'm going to do that real quick and we're going to continue on. As if for now, we're going to be trying removing the AIO. I'm assuming that these screws, if you can see, these screws are attaching the AIO itself to the fans to the case. So we're going to give that a try and see how it goes. So this is one fan out from the AIO. As you can see, it's pretty filthy and it smells like this guy wasn't a smoker. Obviously no disrespect to the person, but yeah, I'm just letting you guys know what my situation is at the moment. And yeah, let's just keep going. Second fan out. Now the AIO should be out right now. Let's try getting the AIO out. As you can see, pretty filthy. Now that we've removed everything briefly from the case, now what we've got to do, we've got to strip down the case so we can get these two fans out, that fan out, and we need to remove the power supply. We're moving on to the front panel and the back fan, which two fans are here, so we're going to take it off. And now we're going to be moving on to the front side. We officially took out the power supply from the case, better than I expected. So we're going to be moving on to the next step, which I'm just going to neaten this up for the sake of the video to see what we have. And we move on to the next step, which is taking out the ports from the case. We'll get more into it in the next scene.
One eternity later.
Now that we took everything out from the case, we'll be moving on to stripping everything, starting off the case, making sure we remove the power button, any type of wiring in the case, so we can move on to the next step. And as for the power supply, we strip it down, take off everything, make sure it's stripped to bare bone, same as the graphics card, which applies to everything else here. So yeah, let's get right into stripping. Now, we have a problem.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
The screw does not want to get out. As you can see, it's giving me a hard time. So it doesn't look like I'm going to be washing the case. Instead, I'm going to be blowing it with the rest of the stuff and then just doing some spray and wiping, which is perfectly fine and plenty. You don't need anything more than that. So I think that's what we're going to take as an approach. And yeah, we're going to move on to the next thing we have to strip down. As you can see briefly, that's all the parts that we stripped down to bare bones. So we're going to be moving on to the blowing process. We're blowing every single part of these as much as possible, preparing it for the deep cleaning process. So yeah, let's get right into the next one. Now that we're finished from the blowing process, as you can see, all the parts are here, some are behind this case. So we're going to be moving on to the deep cleaning process. Now that we've cleaned every single part, we're going to be waiting for every single one of them to dry, and then we'll be back for the next step. Starting with reassembling the power supply. It's complete, we're going to move it on to reassembly the motherboard. Now that we've completed the graphics card, as you can see, looks brand new. We're going to be moving on to reassembling the case. Now that we've reassembled everything as much as possible, including the case. As for the AIO, you might realise I did not reuse the fans, which will be explained in the next episode of Build Your Budget Gaming PCs for a Profit. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did so, please consider liking, subscribing, comment down below. If you have any opinions or whatever the case may be, I'll be replying to everyone as much as possible. And as for this video, this episode goes, it's the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.